Seeing as PlayStation has discovered that it's not Nintendo, I think it's time that we actually take a very close look as to what PlayStation's intentions are on PC and why I think they really need to double up. You see, all these so-called timed releases on PC, I don't really think it's going to cut it in their own benefit because of what we're seeing from other platforms that take what I think is a similar business model or at least a similar approach. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. I think this is something that lends credence to my argument that PlayStation already should have been doing day one for a long time. They're already doing day one now. It's just that I think they kind of took it way too slow because maybe they wanted to posture or create perception. You see, one thing about PlayStation's business, it's always been about the perception. When the substance usually gets checked, we usually see a different story. This post actually came up with, I don't know where this data came from, but apparently it was data that was trending that seemed to correlate with what, other data collectors had seen. And that showed that Nintendo Switch, first party titles basically are in a whole different category of its own. And what's even insane, or even in my opinion, much amazing, is that these games that Nintendo makes don't necessarily seem to be very expensive to push out the box compared to PlayStation in its own production. So I think, number one, PlayStation really needs to rethink its own strategy. This is why the PlayStation boss was heard talking about how they need to take a good look at their PC strategy. I don't know if you guys remember that. If you don't remember, here is an article from Eurogamer that actually, in my opinion, summarizes it very well. PlayStation boss says first-party PC releases will be part of aggressive growth plan. Basically, multi-platform is an area that we want to proactively work on. I think they really need to work on this, or should have been working on this for a long time. If we take a look at Mario Kart, and it's almost 60 million copies sold, it's almost scary. In fact, it's scary that God of War Ragnarok, that is on the PS5 and PS4, basically having access to a customer base of over 100 million consoles, was only able to push out 15 million copies. Now, if you put Xbox on the right side, they're cooked when it comes to the sales if they go exclusive. But the thing is, they're not exclusive. They're already on PC, enjoying the sales that PC has to offer for their day one launches. So yes, maybe we can say the highest selling Xbox game might be here in number 10, but they have a bunch of them. They churn them out fast, seeing that they've just basically inherited Bethesda and all of its properties, Activision and all of its properties, and possibly a lot of their other games that are going to be coming in the next few years, or even within the next, 24 to 30 months, depending on how you want to look at it. So these games are going to enjoy, say, pushing into, some of them anyways, into the double digit in sales, which makes it even more interesting to see it in the sense of PlayStation, whose first party games usually take much longer to come, to the audiences. So waiting 2 years from the PlayStation side doesn't benefit them. Another thing too is some people will say, well, you just have to wait. You just have to wait. But the reality is, the time you're waiting, you're engaging in other titles that are just easily available for you to get your hands on. As a PC player, Game Pass is there that would actually help me easily wait for these games to come on the PC platform. Marvel Spider-Man 2, I told myself, was the last PlayStation game I was going to buy. It's also, in my opinion, the last Xbox game I'll buy on console. But, well, I guess that would be, what's the name of the game? Gotham Knights, I guess, in that regard. I like superhero games. By the way, this used to be, it mainly is a superhero games channel, but seeing that, nothing is coming for a while, I thought, why not just talk about the gaming industry till we get, was it Wonder Woman that's coming, or was it Blade? I don't know. Wonder Woman is supposed to be showing up, but we haven't heard anything, and we don't even know if it's going to end up into the Suicide Squad situation. So I guess right now there's almost no hope for this whole superhero genre if mainstream continues to misbehave as they've been misbehaving in the last few, years. Hopefully somebody can do something about it and bring a game that gamers actually want. But the reality of the whole question is, if PlayStation is taking its time to come to PC, it's pretty much leaving money on the table and allowing for Microsoft to just have a free-for-all on that platform. And I don't know if they can continue to risk it in that way. I was actually quite surprised when I saw that Marvel Spider-Man on PS4 was not the highest seller of all of them. That it actually took Horizon Zero Dawn on PS4 and PC to actually top this number. Then it took God of War on PS4 and PC to then push even further. Are you guys seeing it? It needs the PC boost to be able to come into the 20-something millions when Nintendo isn't doing anything. Let me show you another crazy thing on this chart. Nintendo, look at it very well, has a Super Mario Brothers game that's basically hitting 16 million copies. That's on the rank of their top-selling games. Their number 10 game is basically better than everything that PlayStation has in sales from number 6 through 10. And they have these Mario games on tap. I'm convinced. I mean, it may be an inside tongue-in-cheek joke, but I strongly believe, ladies and gentlemen, that Nintendo, for some reason, has a very strong business model that PlayStation cannot afford to emulate 100%. You see, this is no longer a matter of just, the way the industry goes. And these games are very expensive. You've really got to recoup your cost and then continue production. You just can't recoup your cost and then everything goes on, because those studios, they stay open. And you want them to stay open so that they can make you your next iteration. But seeing how a lot of these studios are taking 6 to 8 years, whereas Nintendo, I don't think they need to take that long to be able to at least put out some of their heavy-hitting titles, because they now have a diverse portfolio. This is something that PlayStation also doesn't seem to actually be able to put out fast enough within their portfolios. They have games, they have titles, but it doesn't seem really interesting enough. Look at it. Look at what the top sellers consist of. Just look at them. It's Horizon here, God of War here, Ragnarok there, Uncharted here, Last of Us here, which they started doing remakes and remasters for, Gran Turismo, from the PS2 days, by the way, and the PS3 days. Wow. And then Spider-Man, which is a very expensive game to make. So this is not a healthy look. I would rather take a Ubisoft spread that does 10 million copies a piece every time. And this is not talking about the quality of Ubisoft games. Don't get me wrong. I'm talking about their sales, where they actually eat all of the profits that come from it, than taking this very lean library that is depending on the PS4 that PlayStation is seemingly pretending like it's moving away from, but instead is using PC to basically back itself up, than to take this. Because even in the Mario, even in the Switch side, it's Pokemon, which is really good. And then their Mario stuff, they've taken Mario and they've basically blossomed it out into different, mini genres and mini, games and different, I guess I will say a variety of games. And this is, again, why their strategy should not and cannot be compared to anybody else at the end of the day. So again, if people are thinking that the waiting game is basically going to be their biggest, power in this whole thing, they don't have that. Simply because Xbox has just said, you know what? If we're not going to be able to get those sales on our own consoles, because it's very hard. It's not easy to convert a console base that loves the Call of Duties and the Fortnites to start playing all these other games, all these single player games. They're not easy converts. They love their multiplayer games. It's not easy to basically come in and give them a proposition saying, why don't you come play this game that is going to cost $70 when they can buy this one game or not buy this one game and play that game for many, many years. I mean, look at them. Look at your console, even PC players. Many of them are playing the free-to-play, free-to-enter, or low-cost games. So I strongly believe that if PlayStation is taking a look at this, and if they're listening to what their boss said, the aggressive strategy needs to now basically get more aggressive, because already day one is here. And for those of you who may be saying, well, it doesn't make any sense. If it wasn't for PC, Helldivers would not have actually hit the double-digit mark. You guys do know that, right? It was Helldivers that basically it was PC that took Helldivers into the 12 million copy sales. If it wasn't for PC, that game would probably never make that list in terms of games that PlayStation has sold that are really strong. Because again, most PlayStation fans prefer to play their games, their multiplayer games. They prefer to play the established ones that they've been used to all these years. And PlayStation never really saw it fit to find themselves a shooter that they could jam into this category. So they really do need a solution. But see, money hiding games is not going to cut it. It won't. I mean, it obviously won't, because Square Enix is looking and saying, we're out, man. Because why is Square Enix backing out? They're backing out because they can't even achieve anything close to these amount of sales on a PlayStation platform. PlayStation, with all of its weight and all of its marketing, is barely even achieving that. How do they expect for other, third-party publishers to basically be able to achieve anything close to justify them being, exclusive to their platform? Look at this. This is crazy. This is crazy. So a day one full commitment to the PC platform is what this company needs. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. And if they think they don't need it, then that's fine. They're going to give their competition all of the advantage that their competition actually does need to basically take the lead over them in the gaming scene. These are my thoughts. As a PC gamer, I have no need to be bothered with what PlayStation is doing. When they're ready and when they're ready and fine and well, they will bring their games to come and meet me on the PC platform. It's to their benefit that they sell those games. If they're not worried when they sell the games, that's fine. But if they actually care when they sell the games compared to their competitors, then that's something they need to take a very good look at. Thanks for watching the video. Appreciate you guys' time and audience. Hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.